today's video is going to be my 30 before 30 video. This is a tag video that's sort of been circulating for a bit. I think I first saw Lucy Moon do it, and it's 30 things you want to do before you turn 30. I will be turning 22 this year, so it's sort of a prime time for me to do this video. I've written them all on my phone. There's not really any order to them, it's just how I've thought them up. So let's just get started. And I'll try and keep this video quite quick and be quite brief on my answers. So, first one is probably something I want to do very, very soon, and that is to hold or meet a raccoon. If you've been around my channel for a while, you know that I love raccoons. I sort of got quite up close with one when we last went to Mexico, and we're going to Mexico in May, so I really want to have the chance to get up close and personal with one again. But I really want to meet sort of like a tame one. A lot of people have, well, not a lot of people, some people have them as pets, and like when they rehab them they can become quite accustomed to humans, and I know there's a ton, like in South Korea and Japan, Russia, they have a lot of raccoon cafes, so that'd be something I would love to do one day. The second thing is to go on a cruise, preferably to the Caribbean. I'd love to go on one of those big Caribbean cruise ships that have a ton of shops on them and have like all the different little areas, and like some of them have like a little built-in like park area. I think that would be super cool, and I'd love to go to the Caribbean, so why not just combine that into one. Number 3 is one that me and Darren really want to do in the next sort of couple of years, is to go to Japan. We lately have really been obsessed with Japan. We actually started to look into flights and things like that, but of course it's one of those that you've got to save up a bit more money for because it is so far away, and we really want to enjoy ourselves whilst we're there. I've always had a fascination with Japan, and I'd love to go. It's got beautiful sort of landscapes and things like that, but also I'm really intrigued with all the shops and the city and that aspect of it as well. It is one that's pretty top on my list, and that is to have a child. I would preferably like to have one before I'm 30, but definitely towards the later stages of my 20s. We're just definitely not in a financially stable place for one right now, and I need to remember that I'm still only 21, but I think because so many people that are in my year group at school have had kids, and I'm definitely much more like mature for my age. Like everyone's shocked when I'm saying I'm only 21, because although I don't even look 21 to most people, they say like I've got an old head on young shoulders, so I would love to have a kid. The next thing I'd love to happen before I turn 30 is to have a really sustainable growing Etsy shop. Obviously I'm in the full works of it at the moment, and I could probably do a separate video on that at some point, but I'd love to make that like a really big part of my life. The next one again is another sort of job related aspect of mine and aspiration, and that is to get my book published. I'm very nearly finishing actually writing the book now, so I really want to get into the process of finding an agent and things like that. It is not as easy as being Zoella and being approached on YouTube and having lots of different publishers fight over you to get your name. It doesn't happen like that in the real world. The next thing is something that I would absolutely love to do, but I think it is quite a stretch, and I definitely would have to train for it, and that is I'd love to do a half marathon, specifically at Walt Disney World. I think that's the only place you would find me actually doing a marathon. If you've never seen them before, you get to run all around the parks. They happen pretty early in the morning, like you have to get up, and the race starts at like 5 in the morning because obviously the heat, and they have to do it before the parks open. But there's a ton of characters and lots of photo opportunities. You get to go in and around the parks when it's not open, and I think it'll just be super, super cool. The next thing is another travel one. There's a lot of travel on this list, and that is to take Darren to Graceland. Graceland, if you don't know, is was the home of Elvis Presley in Memphis, Tennessee, and I've been there before when I was I can't even remember how old I was. I think it was in like 2011, so I was like 17, is that right? 16, I think I was maybe like 16, and I loved it. But since then they have actually built a whole new hotel. They've really updated like the facilities around it, but I would love to take Darren there. He really wants to go, and I would love to go back one day. The next one is another travel related one, and that is to go to Iceland. Again, it's something Darren wants to do as well. I did have the opportunity to go to Iceland back in 2013, 2014 with my college, but that was at the time I was having full-blown panic attacks, and that prevented me from going. So just as like a personal like goal of mine, I'd love to go to Iceland just so I can say I've beaten my anxiety, and I want to do another little anxiety video soon because something happened the other day, yeah, that would be really cool just to be in Iceland and be like, well, I've got here eventually, that sort of thing. The next one, again, is another travel related one, and it is I would love to go to Israel. I've always been quite interested in it. Obviously my dad's side of the family is Jewish, and I connect quite strongly with that. I'm not like overly religious or anything, but I am, if you've seen like my videos, I did the Hanukkah vlogs, I do have like a strong connection with that, and I'm very proud of it, and I'd love to go to Israel. My dad's been, I think my mum's been as well actually, but I would love to go. I've seen a couple of vlogs lately of people that have been to Israel, and I know it probably seems like quite a dangerous country, but I think it is actually as safe. Someone was saying it's as safe to go to Tel Aviv as it is to go to London, so that just says something. The next one, again, is another travel related one, and that is I'd love to go to LA and San Francisco. I have been to LA before when I was quite young, but again, me and Darren really want to go there. We were going to do it as like our honeymoon, but it just was getting too expensive, so we'd love to do LA, San Francisco, go to Disneyland, and that whole sort of West Coast. The next thing, sort of moving away from travel, is to have a cozy getaway weekend with Darren, preferably staying in a little hut or a log cabin or something like that, or a little cottage where we have no internet. This would be a lot harder for Darren, I feel, because he relies quite heavily on the internet. He's just constantly on his phone, but for me, obviously, I can read and do my knitting, and that just sounds like the perfect thing for me. But I'd love to have like a romantic getaway weekend where we're like cut off from internet, cut off from the outside world. I think that would be lovely. We did try and do that when we went to Centre Parks, but we were still sort of, because internet was available, we were still like hankering after it. The next one is a purchase I'd like to make, and that is I would love, love, love to buy myself a Louis Vuitton pochette Matisse in the Empreinte leather, in the black leather. If you've not seen it, I will pop in a picture. It is a very popular bag within the Louis Vuitton community, but I have been lusting after it for ages, like absolutely ages. And you know, Louis Vuitton is high-end, it's expensive. It's something that I definitely want to save up for and have that real achievement of buying my own first Louis Vuitton bag. Louis Vuitton is sort of very nostalgic to me. My mum has a couple, I don't know if she still got them, she had a couple pieces from Louis Vuitton, and like I remember going in there when I was little and it feeling like really glamorous and things like that, and feeling like that really luxurious and expensive, and I just love the bag. I think it's timeless, I think it's really up my style, and I'd love to get it. Next one is very open-ended, and it just says discover who I am. I really want to get to know myself in my 20s. I know you're constantly aging and growing, and that's something that you change from every decade of your life, but I really want to, I feel like this is the time where you discover who you are, you're really self-aware of who you are, and that's something that I'd like to just do more sort of self-exploration. And my next point sort of links in with that, and that is to be happy with my fashion style. It is constantly changing, and I'm constantly getting rid of pieces and buying new pieces, and I really, like, I have a vision in my head of what I'd like it to be like, but it's just finding those pieces that are timeless and that are going to work and that are going to last for a while. The next one, again, is a very big one, and if it doesn't happen in my 20s, then hopefully it will happen in my 30s, and that is to be self-employed. I'd love for my book and my knitting and my YouTube just to really take off, and for me to be able to use one of them or all three of them as my full-time jobs. That would be really cool. Definitely not something that's going to happen in the next sort of couple of years, but sort of later on in my 20s, hopefully that would pick up and take off. So yeah. The next thing I'd like to do is to stay in a hotel in London around New Year, more specifically stay in a room that overlooks the Thames during New Year's Eve, so we can stay in and watch the fireworks at the London Eye from our hotel room. I think that'd be super cool. I wouldn't necessarily like to stand out in the freezing cold for hours just to wait for it, and I know you have to book these rooms at a hotel at least a year in advance, but I think that would be really, really cool to have sort of a cozy night in, like ordering room service and just watching the fireworks go off. The next one's very interesting because it's sort of already happened, and that was to dye my hair a crazy colour. Ta-da! So you've probably already noticed, but I had the tips or the ends of my hair dyed purple. It was something I've wanted to dye my hair for ages, but obviously I didn't want to do it before the wedding, and I absolutely love it. I'd actually like to get more purple put in next time, because like I just love it. So yeah, that was something that I wanted to do and I've already achieved. So I'm really glad I took the plunge because I absolutely love it. And like, I'm sort of one of those people that once I get something into my head that I want to do, I'll just do it. And if it doesn't work out like hair wise, then it will grow. I can chop it off, that sort of thing. This one is another sort of travel related one, and I'd love to go to the Lucy Desi Museum that's in Jamestown, New York. It's basically a museum dedicated to Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz and I Love Lucy, and I'd love to go there and sort of visit Lucille's hometown of Jamestown. And there's obviously different places you can visit that are specific to them. So yeah, next one is very similar to that, and that is to rewatch the I Love Lucy episodes. I have the whole series of I Love Lucy, I have some of the Lucy show, I have all of Here's Lucy, and I have a couple films and things like that. But I'd really love to sort of watch start to finish the I Love Lucy episodes again. I've already done that once, but that was quite a few years ago, so I'd love to sort of marathon that again. The next one is to attend a knitting or a craft workshop. I'd really love to sort of meet new people, seeing as I love knitting, and it is, when you think of it, you do immediately think like an older person, lots of grannies knit, but it is becoming more popular and there's a lot of younger people, and I'd love to just go to some sort of like craft fair or like a craft workshop and meet new people where we can all just sit, sort of knit and chat, and attend other craft workshops as well, and just sort of, I love just being arty and creative and things like that, so something I'd like to do. The next one is music related, and I've sort of combined two in one, and I would love to see Bruno Mars in concert, and I'd love to see Beyonce in concert. Those are sort of the two life aspirations I have. I love Bruno Mars, I love Beyonce, and I think they're just iconic, so I would love to see them live. Next one is one that will probably happen next time we go to Florida or the time after, and that is to go to an American football game. Darren's a big fan of the NFL, he supports the Carolina Panthers. I don't know if we would necessarily see them, but obviously if we're in Florida we would see the Buccaneers, and it's just something that I think would be a really cool experience. I have no knowledge whatsoever about American football, but I've just always, like, you see it in films and stuff like that, and it just looks really cool, and on TV it just looks really cool, and they have amazing facilities out there. Like when we went to the Tampa Bay Rays, their stadiums have amazing facilities compared to our football stadiums over here, so that's something that definitely Darren would be on board with going to. The next one is makeup related, and that is to find the perfect everyday lipstick. I'm constantly on the hunt for that perfect sort of nude berry colour, and I think in my 20s I hope to like pin that down and get it on point. The next one is to get another tattoo. This is something I've not really talked about, but it's sort of been in the back of my mind. I would love to get another tattoo. I'm not yet, because I don't want to rush into things and I'm not quite sure what I want yet. It's sort of one of those things that when it will come to me, then I will get it. I was thinking of getting something sort of flower related. I want to do something maybe in honour of my nan and my grandma. I'm just not quite sure what yet. I'd love like a little hydrangea flower, something like that. But again, not too sure on that. The next one again is knitting related, and I would love to be able to knit a hat. Everyone's in my family sort of jokes because I can't knit a jumper or a hat yet. It's not something I've actually tried yet, but I would like to, and I think that would just be a really good sense achievement. Next one is to have my makeup professionally done again. It's not something that I do very often. I think in my lifetime I've had it done twice. One was at like a birthday party, and the second time obviously was my wedding day, and I love that. I felt like such a princess, and I would love to get my makeup professionally done and then be able to like have my own like photo shoot, or just like go out for the day, like have something to go to, like, or an event to go to where it's really, really worth it. I loved getting my makeup done. I think if it's done well, you can obviously feel really, really good about yourself. But yeah, I think I'd love to have my makeup professionally done, my hair professionally done, and have like a really like, not like a sexy, but like a tastefully sexy like photo shoot. That would be really cool. So yeah. The next thing is another travel one, and I believe it's my last sort of travel one, and that is to visit Australia. It's something I've always, like a place I've always wanted to go, to meet the koalas, to meet little kangaroos, but obviously it's just so far away, and you have to go there, I would say, for a couple of weeks to really make a dent in what you want to do. And I've got 2 more left. The next one is to meet an astronaut. That would be so, so cool. You can meet an astronaut at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida, and actually locally they had tickets where you can meet Chris Hadfield, who's an astronaut, and there were tickets to see Tim Peake. I missed out on both of those. It was well annoying, but I'd love to meet an astronaut one day. As you know, I'm obsessed with space and NASA, that sort of thing. And the final one, on my 30 before 30, is to stay in either an RV or a tiny house. I think that would be really cool. Obsessed with that sort of small, tiny living and that real minimalist lifestyle. So I think that'd be really cool. Again, one that would be a little hard for Darren. I mean, he's over 6 foot, he's not a small guy, but it's something that I would love to do one day. So yeah, I said I was going to keep this video short. I felt like I've been quite brief, but it still ended up being like 20 minutes long. I hope you enjoyed my 30 before 30 tag video. Let me know if there's anything you want to achieve before your next big milestone birthday. I'm going to tag a few people, and this doesn't necessarily have to be 30 before you're 30, it can be like 40 before you're 40, or just things you maybe want to achieve in the next year, next 5 years, next 10 years, that sort of thing. So take it how you want. So I'm going to tag Gillian at Home and Hannah Tay. I'd love to see what you would like to do for your next milestone birthday. And yeah, I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys!